All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Chris Control. We are live from the 704 once again for episode, what's this, 261? 261 of the 815 Exchange. And yes, we're here. We are finally in August. I really shouldn't say finally because it feels kind of crazy that it's already August. The kids are about to go back to school. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I'm not going to lie, y'all. It's a cold world. It's a cold world. It is a cold world. I had a weekend. I had a 3-day weekend. Boy, it's a cold world. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a cold world out here. Y'all be safe. But this episode is going to be an interesting one. We have a little bit of variety here in topics. We got the usual summer stuff. We got to talk about the MLB. The trade deadline was last week. I got to crash out. Actually, not on the Yankees this week. We made some moves. Nothing really of substance, but, we'll talk about what happened. We've got the WNBA. We had some trades there. We also had the Aces, the fall off. What happened? Okay. We got some streaking teams, some teams not so much streaking. Chicago Sky. Of course, we got 2 albums, Yeat and Metro dropped. I'll talk a little bit about Lazarus, which I've been really enjoying. Shout out to HBO Max. They're not paying me to say that, but HBO Max, if you want to pay me to say that, feel free to drop it in my email, listed in my YouTube channel somewhere. So we got that to talk about in entertainment. Of course, we got the U.S. Track and Field Championships to discuss who's going to Worlds. But more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, I will be crashing out on Jerry Jones in the Roundup. So, as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content, but it is long-form content. So if you just want to skip right ahead to the crash out at the end of the video, feel free to. All right, feel free to. Long-form content, timestamps in the description, along with everything else you need in this life, and also embedded in the video, my social media links if you want to see my daily life and what I am up to as the Batman. You can get that in my bio as well, also in the outro. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we got some things to attend to. All right, we have some things to attend to. So let's talk about the MLB first. All right, let's talk about baseball. Let's talk about this trade deadline. The biggest trade, of course, Mason Miller. Now, don't get me wrong before I talk about this. Listen, Mason Miller has some of the most disgusting stuff in the entire league. He does. And he's objectively a great reliever, a great closer, so on and so forth. Nothing wrong with that. But what the Padres traded for Mason Miller is real interesting. All right. Not oftentimes do we get these premier top prospects. All right. Not oftentimes do we see them in these trades, but we do have it here. All right. Leo DeVries gets traded here, the number 3 prospect, former number 1 international prospect last year, the 17 or 18-year-old shortstop, widely regarded as probably a guy that will end up being the top prospect in all of baseball at his current trajectory. He gets traded here for Mason Miller. It's an interesting piece to give up, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. Now, of course, prospects in MLB can be a little bit of a crapshoot now. It's not always guaranteed. That hit rate is not always, and we talk about it with the draft, it's not always a guarantee that these guys that are perceived as studs, become these superstar players. But LDV is very, very highly rated, man. He is very, very highly rated. A guy that people are like, yo, he could be in the MLB maybe by 20 or before 20, like the next teenager to make it. So it's interesting. It's interesting to give up a guy that, if he does work out, becomes a, potential superstar for Mason Miller. Does that really move the needle that much for the Padres, who, I'll give credit. They're always trying to win. All right, they are always making moves to try to win now. So I will give them credit where credit's due. But yeah, it's going to be steep. But I think this one, we'll see over time. All right, we'll see. If Mason continues to be Mason and the Padres make a run or even, go and win a World Series somehow and beat the Dodgers, then this will work. It'll have been worth it. Or if LDV bust. But if LDV becomes who people think LDV can become, then this could be a trade that really sets up, the Oakland Athletics. We just talked about them and Kurtz last week. That could be a really, really huge moment in that franchise's history if he becomes what people think he can become. So we'll see. That was the headliner. The Yankees, like I said, got real active. All right, they got real active this week. Bednar, Doval, Calabero, Bird, Austin Slater. All right, so many utility guys, so many infielders. They got all the depth you want, but it's just, I don't think it's enough. I just don't think it's enough for the Yankees, and I don't think Aaron Boone is the answer as the manager. So we'll see. Yankees are definitely prepared for injuries in the infield at this point, and got some, a little bit more bullpen help. But again, I don't know how much it really truly moves the needle. But the Yankees were the most active, and overall, not bad moves to make. All right, it's never a bad thing to get more depth and get more guys that can deal with situations as we get deeper in the season when that wear and tear really starts to kick in. And of course, already with Aaron Judge and the elbow injury, it's not bad. It's not bad. I saw a lot of people really like their moves. So, hey, I'll take it as a Yankees fan. I'll take it. One of the other big moves of the trade deadline here in the MLB, Eugenio Suarez, 36 home runs at the All-Star break. All right. I think he has the, second? I think it's top 5. He was in, the most home runs traded at the trade deadline. I think he may have been second. But yeah, Eugenio Suarez goes to the Mariners, adds to what is already an insane power-hitting lineup. Of course, Cal Raleigh, he's at 41 home runs currently. So, yeah, Suarez adds that. The Mariners try to make a little run here. All right, we'll see what happens. But Suarez is a good get. He was one of the most sought-after, guys that was available at the deadline. Mariners went and got him. So, we will see. All right, but more power in Seattle. They can't run out of it at this point. All right, they cannot run out of it. Let's talk about the W. Let's talk about the W, ladies and gentlemen. Big trade happened today. All right, reigning defending most improved player, Dejanay Carrington, has been traded to the Minnesota Lynx, which is huge, of course. The Lynx, arguably the championship favorites alongside the New York Liberty, who just signed Emma Messimer, former Finals MVP, last week. A little bit of an arms race. Okay, a little bit of an arms race. They did give up some stuff here for Nay, but Nay is still Nay. Nay is still Nay, and on that Lynx team, I think that's a really, really good move. All right, end of the day, I think that's a really, really good move, nonetheless, at the end of the day. Sorry to repeat that. But, yeah, will be interesting. Again, I think she slots in really well. Stud Buds, Nay, and of course, Fee, the MVP. So, we'll see what happens there. Lynx still pacing, and speaking of them, they just beat the brakes. I mean, beat the brakes off of the Las Vegas Aces. The second highest margin of victory in WNBA history. 53 points. They beat the Aces. Yes, the Aces by 53, 111 to 58. My goodness. The fall off from the Las Vegas Aces needs to be studied. It needs to be studied. They went from cream of the crop, the dominant team in the W, the team in the W, running the show. And then when them and the Liberty stacked up, they still won. But then as soon as Candace was gone, it hasn't been the same. It has not been the same. You still got Becky, you still got Asia, you still got Chels, even though Chels is not really Chels anymore. Asia's definitely still Asia, still the best player in the world. But it's not enough, bro. It is not enough clearly for the Aces, who just have, they have lost more than a step. More than a step. They are not anywhere near championship contention. And yeah, the Lynx just, destroyed them. Destroyed them. So again, I don't think you can. It doesn't make sense to fire Becky, who a lot of people would still consider maybe arguably the best coach in the W. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. The Lynx just need to retool desperately and get people around Asia because already got rid of Kelsey. So it's a little bit like maybe you just blow it completely up, but. I don't know, man. I don't know. They're in a weird situation, and it's weird to see a dynasty really fall off this dramatically, right after being great for so long. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, the Aces get crushed. All right, get crushed. We got two teams trending in opposite directions. Now, they do play today, so by the time you're watching this, things may have changed. All right, either the Fever are going to be on a 5-game win streak, or they will finally take an L. But right now, they're on a 4-game win streak. Ari McDonald's been great for them. Been a very nice pickup. DeWanna Bonner came back, got booed. AT felt away, which, what did you expect? She quit on the team. And they lost. So, you just got to eat that, even though AT went off in that game. But yeah, Fever been hooping. All right, they've been hooping. Again, it's big for them to do this without Caitlin. You don't want to have too bad of a playoff seed when Kate does come back fully healthy this time, hopefully. Because, again, that changes. We've seen what happens when Caitlin is healthy. on that team, it's a different type squad. It's a dangerous team. But gotta get her back healthy, gotta keep winning games. So yeah, Fever's stacking good games. The Chicago Sky are doing the complete opposite. All right, after Angel balled out last month, as in June, not July, it just all went to it just all fell apart after the All-Star break. They've lost 7 straight games. It ain't looking good. It ain't looking good. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. It is not looking good for the Chicago Sky. All right, they have the second worst record now in the W. The Connecticut Sun are the only ones worse, and that is the Connecticut Sun. So Sky, not looking great. All right, not looking great. Looking like they're gonna have a top pick, and be in, I don't know, AZ, Olivia, whoever, etc. They need a guard. All right, it doesn't matter who. They need a guard desperately. All right, somebody that can control the offense and put the ball in the hoop. All right, please, somebody. Good God. All right, Chicago down horrendous. Let's talk about ENT. All right, let's talk about entertainment. Okay, what am I watching? All right, still watching Gossip Girl. I've slowed down a little bit because I'm not gonna lie. FaZe has been cooking. Okay, FaZe has been cooking, and I have been either parasocial or unemployed. Even though obviously I'm not unemployed. But you get what I mean. All right, I've been locked into the streams. All right, I have been locked in. But I have been watching Lazarus, animated show by the creators of Cowboy Bebop on HBO Max. Very good. All right, very, very good. I'll say good. All right, I'll say good. I've enjoyed it a lot. All right, again, I need to start the Letterbox. All right, I almost watched Companion yesterday. I need to ground around to that hopefully this week. And yeah, I think I'll boot up the Letterbox. All right, I think it's time. All right, to channel my inner cinephile. Music. Yeat dropped. All right, Yeat dropped, and honestly, both of these are for first listen, and I was playing the new NCAA game as I was doing it, so I don't want to give it an official rating this week, but I really like this Yeat project. I like this Yeat project more than I liked his last one, last year. This was one of my favorite Yeat projects I've heard. Dangerous Summer, this was fire. This was fire. Now, like Yeat is still the one. That him and Benny X are just a different duo. But I will say Flight Night feed FKA and then Loco were probably my 2 standouts off of this first listen to the complete project. But yeah, very good. Very, very good project. For me, it was exactly when I come to listen to Yeat, I want it to sound like Dangerous Summer. All right, that's the best way to put it. So yeah, very, very good project. I'm not gonna rank it this week at least. But yeah, strong stuff there. Metro dropped some real ATL. Some real ATL with a Futuristic Summer. Slide and Drip BBQ were my 2 favorites. Everybody from the city of Atlanta was on this project. We had the OGs. It felt like a who's who of when I was growing up. We got Walker, we got Roscoe Dash on multiple tracks. We got Young Dro, we've got Quavo. We got everybody. That's just to name a few. That's just to name a few of the heads that were on this. Everybody. It was very different from the usual Metro project that we've seen, the more epic type, the heroes and villains from, was that last year? Yeah, that was last year. Gosh, that feels like it was longer. But from last year, right, where it was stacked with these, elite superstar artists, not as much. This was very much so back home. Some of it was a little hit or miss, though. I will say, though I feel like if that Dirty South ATL sound is your thing, I think he executed it, and that might be more, this project might resonate with you better. But for me, who still loves that sound, but maybe a little bit more so in moderation, the full project, and it was 24 tracks, it was a lot. It was a lot, and not everything hit for me. So not the strongest Metro project. I'm not going to outright say it's trash. I did see some of that on Twitter and online, but it was like a cool 7. It was like a cool round 7-ish. Not bad. He still did great, production per usual. Metro, the best producer maybe of his generation. So yeah. But like I said, if you in that Dirty South Summer type, this is you. This is your body. So yeah, not bad. Pretty solid week in music. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a strong summer, man. It has been a strong. My playlist are eating. Okay, they're eating. A shout out to Twice, because they went crazy at Lola. All right, they went absolutely crazy at Lola. But yeah, that is ENT for the week. All right, for the main event of the evening, let's talk about the USA Championships. All right, the USA Track and Field Championships. We got a lot. Now, not everybody ran. Okay, we did have some, greats, Ryan Krauser, Noah Lyles for the 100, and honestly could have done it for the 200, but we'll talk about what he did in the 200, because oh boy. Um, and, Cindy McLaughlin, but she decided to run the 4, but you get the point. All right, a lot of our, top athletes didn't have to run because they already had, their world champions. They got an auto qualifier, but we did have people still trying to make that team. All right, so we got plenty to talk about. So let's get to it. And of course, let's talk about the queen. All right, the queen of American track and field, Sydney McLaughlin Lavroni, and Sid the kid is still Sid the queen. It doesn't matter if it's the 4 flat or the 4 hurdles. All right, she runs it in America. 200ths of a second off though. Still getting closer to that record. Sonya, you're on watch. But you're safe for today. All right, you're safe for today. You're safe for the weekend. 48-9, still very, very strong from Sid. And yeah, we'll see what she can do at the Worlds. Might be the first time she's getting beaten at Worlds, maybe, for the first time, in a very long time. Actually, has she been beaten at Worlds? Surely. As like a teenager, surely she's been beaten then. But yeah, she does win the American 4 here, to nobody's surprise. And yeah, we'll see if she can chase down that American record and get the gold at Worlds. What happened in the 400-meter hurdles with no Sid? Well, Delilah Muhammad, the former GOAT, all right, the former world record holder in that event at 35 years old, spins the block here, and she gets a USC sweep, 1, 2, 3 to make it happen here. So yeah, Delilah, Anna, Jazz, good stuff. We love to see it. All right, we love to see it. Fight on. 5K. Actually, before we talk about the 5K, let's talk about that 1500. Because it's really all about Cole Hawker. And even though Cole got, this is where he won Olympic gold. Not the world champion, so he did have to run this. He does get third here, but Ethan Strand, he did go to UNC, but I got to give credit where credit's due. He's professional now. But yeah, Strand continues to have an incredible season. Of course, collegiate record. During his time at UNC this past season, and then goes here, finishes second. And what was a big upset, Jonah Koick getting a 3 minutes and 30 seconds. 3:30:17 here to win the event. Nagoose doesn't make it. Hobbs Kessler doesn't make it. 2 really big surprises who have made world teams in the past. But yeah, Hawker, Strand, Koick should be a very strong team. We'll see what happens there. That 1500 has been heating up as like a premier event, low-key, with everything. That and the 800. They've been getting some spice in there, so that'll be one to watch. Cole Hawker is him, though. Okay, Cole is him. Do not make that mistake. He comes from behind yet again because his kick is ridiculous. We've talked about this every time we've talked about Cole. Even when I think we were covering him when he was back at Oregon. I think the show was up and running by then. But yeah, we've talked about Cole many times. You know the drill. All right, he's got the best kick in the planet, and then I showed it off here again to win the 5K. Fell behind after leading it for almost the entire race. But then if he gets any type of breath in that inside line on that last lap, it's over with. And yeah, he runs everybody down, wins it. Grant Fisher, you are a legend. He goes and gets second. And Nico Young, the 23-year-old, goes and gets third. Not going to be his last world team. And yeah, sucks for Cooper Tier because he was right there with his best friend Cole. But just once again misses out. One of these days, Cooper's going to make one. One of these days, all right? Let's talk about the sprints, okay? We have been on fire as of late with this past generation in terms of the sprints. So what was happening here? All right, what was happening here? 100, Kenny Bernard runs his fastest 100 ever, 9.79 to make that team. Courtney Lindsay runs a 9.23, a 9.8, a 9.83. Tamars McCollum has been a beast. A beast post-uni. A beast. Set the world lead, I believe, in the 200 at one point. The Tennessee standout. So what would T. Mars do here? 9.83 makes the team. Tate Taylor won Gatorade National Player of the Year. And he won nationals. But it's Maurice Gleaton who ties Tate's record here in the final with a 9.92. He's not going to be the only person to tie a youth record. We will talk about Cooper very soon. But yeah, Gleaton doesn't make the team, but does tie that 9.92 from Tate. So yeah, trackflation still up. 200 meters. Noah Lyles hasn't run very many races. He's been dealing with a lot of, some sickness, dealing with a lot of stuff. Are the American superstar. So there were some questions on whether he was going to win. I think Kenny was actually the favorite to win this race. And it came down to the wire, but Noah had it under control, and he does it, of course, in the most Noah Lyles way, because we got to bring some attention to the sports. And what is now the biggest story coming out of USA Track and Field Championships this year? Noah wins 1963, of course, world lead, all the jazz, whatever. Or not the world lead, but, his best time this year. Kenny gets a 1967. But as they're crossing the line, Noah looks back and stares Kenny down, which was interesting. Not completely out of the ordinary, though, for Noah Lyles. But he stares him down. He kind of runs into Kenny's, pathway. So Kenny pushes him. And then Noah turns around and puts his arms out and continues to stare down Kenny. They exchange words before the interview. Eventually, Kenny forces to shake their hands. There's still clearly some tension there. Then they go to the interview. They're talking before the interview. They're talking during the interview, basically saying, "Yeah, we got something to kind of air out after this." So we'll see. But it's spicy. All right, it's looking very spicy between two of the favorites in that 200 this year. Surely between Noah and Kenny Bednark. We will see. All right, we will see. Robert Gregory, who got third, was just like, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to, be beside these guys and go to Tokyo. And then you got Kenny and Noah, who look like they want to get away from each other as soon as possible. So, spicy. All right, real spicy in the men's 200. We'll see what happens, but Noah being Noah. All right, that's the best way I can summarize it. Noah being Noah, even though Kung Fu Kenny looked like he wanted to punch him in the face. 100 and 200 was ran by Melissa Jefferson. Melissa Jefferson Wooden. She has been on different timing. Since she got married, I don't know, she got a marriage buff. She has been having the best season of her life this year. And she capped it off with a lead in the world 100 meters. 10.65 for Mel. Good God. Good God. I mean, it got me out of my seat. I was moved. MJW moved me with that one. She also had a 21.84 to pretty easily win the 200. Gabby Thomas just makes that team, by the way. But yeah, Melissa Jefferson looking like she wants to contend with Sha'Carri and Sharika for, that best in the world title this year. And, of course, the great Julian Alfred, who is, of course, the reigning defending Olympic champ. So we will see. All right, we will see. But Melissa Jefferson makes a statement here at USA's. And, of course, I would be amiss if I didn't talk about the Wonder Boy, the Wonder Kid himself, Cooper Lutin Kinhas. A 1 minute, 42 second, and 27 milliseconds. U18 world record here in the 800. He makes the world team, finishes second. Other two people join him, of course, are Donovan Brazier, welcome back, and Bryce Hoppel. I feel like they've been facing off against each other forever because they literally were doing this in college. But, Cooper, he's that guy. He's the Wonder Boy. He is the Wonder Boy. All time as a junior, by the way, he's 16. 16. Doing this. 16. It's the Wonder Kid. All right, he is the Wonder Kid, and he makes the world team here. He's the next great teenager, it seems, currently coming out of America. Of course, you got him and Quincy Wilson, who is the same age as him. Looking good for our middle distance. All right, our middle distance looking like we got two stars for the future. We'll see how they develop. But for now, Cooper gets it done and makes the world team here at the 800 while collecting a U18 world record. And ladies and gentlemen, that is USA. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the roundup. It's about that time. All right, we're going to build up to it, though. All right, so let me land. All right, we're going to talk about Hungary, and then we'll get to Jerry Jones and me crashing out, okay? But yeah, first up, Hungary, it's Monaco without the barriers. Let's be real. Somehow, some way, though, unexpected winner, because Ferrari just cannot do anything right. Charles is going to have the worst, if he doesn't already, have the worst pole to win conversion ratio in the history of the sport. And it's not his fault. This man pulls out some magic on Saturdays, and then Sundays they just have some strategy that some kindergarten cooked up, or some issue that just magically appears from the depths of hell and F's up the car. It's wondrous how Ferrari manages to screw up on race days. It is absolutely wondrous. All right, they broke Lewis last week. They broke Charles this week. It's incredible. All right, it is incredible. Ferrari. It is almost a talent to be this good at messing it up. It's almost a talent, all right? So yeah, Charles doesn't convert this. He doesn't even get a podium because somehow the car falls apart and they didn't communicate that to him. So he's just sitting there frustrated, crashing out on the comm more than I've ever seen Charles. And it's a mess, all right? So he completely loses his race in the back end after leading for 2/3 of it. Lando, Oscar, all right? We got some brewing. The race is back on as Lando once again wins here. Yeah, the one stop was the right way. All right, it was the right way. It's funny because he absolutely bottled. I mean, absolutely bottled the start to the race, but it worked out for him because he had to switch the strategy to go to the one stopper, and that ended up being the formula to win this race. He was able to hold off Oscar in those last laps. That got pretty exciting, nothing too crazy, but pretty exciting at the end there. Oscar has very scary lockup. But worked out nonetheless. Oscar gets that second. He did feel a little, feel a little type of way, but the new Iceman, word to Drizzy, he'll be fine. All right, he'll be fine. I still rate him to probably win the championship over Lando currently at this point, but we'll see. All right, last race before summer break, more McLaren dominance. Y'all know how this goes. George Russell finishes third. Y'all know how this goes. Good thing though for Kimi. All right. Did go out in Q2, but was able to fight back and actually had the most positions gained in this race and does get on to points, finished 10th. So some confidence for Kimi before going to the break. However, Gabriel Bortoleto is showing why he is a part of that exclusive F3 to F2 Rookie Year Winner Club and now making it here in F1. He's been cooking in that. So, he's been kicking Hulk. He's been smoking Hulk the past week, month. So we'll see. But yeah, Gabby goes into the summer break looking real strong into that Rookie of the Year conversation. That a lot of it for the most of the year was Kimi and Isaac Hadjar. But we will see. All right, we will see. But yeah, McLaren looks like they're running the show. Interested to see what upgrades we get after summer's over. Okay, this is what y'all came for. All right, before we get to that though, Terry McLaurin did, also request a trade this week for Washington, so I do need to get that off. Will he get traded? Probably doubt it. We'll see. There should be plenty of teams going for him. I don't know if Terry's a true number one, but I think he's a really good 1B. I think he's a really, really good 1B, and there's plenty of teams that need that. All right, there are plenty of teams that can use a Terry McLaurin, so I expect Commanders' phones to be ringing. But, like I said, y'all came here to hear me do this, okay? So let's get to it, okay? Because I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. To quote, I believe, what's that, CM Punk? Who had a very interesting week this week at SummerSlam. Shout out to Seth Rollins. But I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of Jerry Jones. Thank God I'm not a Mavs fan or lived in Dallas, because it would have subjected me to two of the worst owners in sports. It is remarkable. It is remarkable how useless of an owner, and honestly, I'm not letting Stephen Jones off the hook here either. It is remarkable how useless they are as owners. It is remarkable. You have Micah Parsons. I don't even need to give a description. I will anyway. One of the, if not the best defensive player in the game today. Your young superstar. Arguably, let's be honest, maybe the face of your franchise. Sure thing, no injury issues. His biggest controversy is he hops on the pod and, talks every now and then, but hasn't really said anything crazy. That's the biggest, maybe potential red flag. Otherwise, he's playing like, Reggie White reincarnated. For every other team in the league, and for you at home watching this, or wherever you're watching this, you would think that's easy. Pay him whatever he wants. Give him a blank check. Especially if you're the Dallas Cowboys in a situation like the Dallas Cowboys are in. Since you allegedly want to be winners. Micah Parsons will definitely help you win games. But no, that's not what that's not what Jones family on. That's not what they on. Pay Micah Parsons? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. God forbid we pay Micah Parsons what he deserves or what he's earned. God forbid we pay the face of the franchise a top 5, top 10 player minimum in the entire league what he deserves. God forbid. It's the worst thing ever, according to Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, who have to be imbeciles at this point. I don't understand. We did this with CD. Got lucky that he signed. We gave 60 million to Dak Prescott. And I like Dak Prescott more than the average person likes Dak Prescott as a quarterback. But he has no business being the highest paid. But Micah Parsons, a guy who could actually reasonably be the highest paid player in his position in the league, and it would make complete sense. Oh, we can't do that. We can't do that. He actually wanted to come for less than that. And we still can't get a deal right because of Jared. Good old Jared and Steven. Dumbasses. It's beyond me. It's beyond me, bro. It's beyond me. I would love an explanation that's not some bullshit from the Cowboys organization on why Micah Parsons is not already re-signed. So now he's put in a trade request. You've killed your relationship with your best player in what should have been one of the easiest negotiations in the league. I don't care what you did 30 years ago. It means nothing. It means nothing. I wasn't born when the Cowboys were relevant, so I've seen nothing but mediocrity and almost, could've, should'ves in the 24 years that I've been alive and been descended upon as a Cowboys fan. If the Jones family stays in power, the Cowboys are slowly, and they already are, going to fade to obscurity. It's kind of funny. Because he started this whole branding as America's team, and now they're going to be America's forgotten team very, very soon. Because again, he has to be geriatric. He has to have lost his mind somewhere. Because you're washed more than a Tide Pod. And your son is just as clueless as you. Micah Parsons. How do you not re-sign? How do you piss off Micah Parsons, who bleeds blue and white? Who bleeds silver? How do you piss him off so much that he has to request a trade because you can't sign him to the appropriate contract in what should once again be the easiest negotiation in the league? It's a blank fucking check. It's Micah Parsons. But Jared, Steven, they've got some type of plan. No, you don't. Get these motherfuckers off the team. I don't give a fuck if they own it. I don't give a fuck. Washed. Geriatric. And I'm going to be honest. Shout out to WWE, because for a long time they felt the same way, where if the geriatric old fuck who currently is running the show, once he, might be a little bit better. That's the way I feel, and that's the way it seems like a lot of Cowboys fans feel right now. Because, again, I don't know how you don't sign Micah Parsons, but maybe y'all can tell us, all right? Maybe y'all can give us a legitimate reasons. That's not some PR, shenanigans that you wrote up. How you don't pay one of the best players in the league what he deserves. He asked for less than, and you couldn't re-sign him. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Out of here. Out of here. Detest these people, bro. Detest them. Let's talk about somebody I love. All right? Heung-min Son. Everybody loves Sonny. All right? Everybody loves Sonny. Spurs will be they will be building that statue. All right? I have faith. Okay? However, his Spurs career is over. All right? But he leaves a legend. Finally got the European hardware, literally. The fairy tale ending. He goes off a legend. He's coming over here stateside to LAFC. So that should be fun. All right? Because Sonny's not, horribly washed. So I expect him to still cook a little bit in the MLS, and of course that's super cool. All right, super cool to see him play stateside. Hopefully I can go see him, when he's in town here for Charlotte FC. But yeah, Sonny to LAFC, staying with the soccer beats. Ladies and gentlemen, Trin Rodman is back. Yes, it has been over 100 days since her last match. Of course, she had the back injury. There was a lot of questions on whether she was even going to be the same. But ladies and gentlemen, T. Roddy comes back, and in 15 minutes, she gets the goal that lifts the Washington Spirit over the Portland Thorns. So yeah, good stuff. All right, good stuff for T. Roddy. I was happy for her. She was very emotional after scoring that. Crew, you were still her. That was a beautiful assist. But yeah, it was cool to see Roddy get the game winner in her return. One of the best players in the world. Of course, one of the integral parts of the future of this American team. So yeah, I wish her nothing but health and the best throughout the rest of the season. And yeah, back to T. Roddy killing it. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, all right, that was episode 261. Listen, I hope August is as good as July and June were for me, because it's been a movie. I can't lie to you, it's been a movie. Hopefully this summer has been a movie for you, and hopefully it concludes in a great way here in August. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Ocho signing off.